Hi, friend. This is Alex McRobbs, founder of the Mindful Life Practice, and you're listening to the Sober Yoga Girl podcast. I'm a Canadian who moved across the world to the Middle East at age 23, and I never went back. I got sober in 2019, and I now live full-time in Bali, Indonesia. I've made it my mission to help other women around the world stop drinking, start yoga, and change their lives through my online Sober Girls Yoga community. You're not alone, and a sober life can be fun and fulfilling. Let me show you how. All right, here we are. Good morning, everyone. Super excited, super happy to be here. It's Tuesday morning in Bali. It's Monday night in Cleveland, and we are coming at you for our weekly live. So if anyone's watching, comment, let us know where you're watching, if you have questions for us. And let's just jump right in. So how are you doing, Kathy?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing good. It's day 2 of Sober Curious Yoga Week, which is really exciting.
Oh my gosh, the kickoff was so cool.
It was awesome. There were so many people, old faces, new faces.
It was so awesome. I just loved it. Like it just, what community is all about, you know?
Yeah, it was awesome. And, I was thinking a lot about, so that time slot, it's 8 a.m. Sunday. It's when we typically have a Sober Girls Club, and we have a guest speaker every week. And I've been thinking a lot about making it just like a sober community meeting so that men can join as well, because it was really nice. There were 2 men in the group, and it was just really nice to have some different energy and perspective.
It was. And it seemed like, the men that were there were saying, well, we'd love to have our own men's group, but not a ton of men are joining. And so, I think like when I was in one of your groups, it was like half and half that we met, I think it was 7 a.m. my time for almost the whole year, the whole year. And I loved that group. And it was people from all over the world, and from Ireland to Dubai. And it was just, I don't know, it really was a lot of energy for Saturday morning at 7 a.m. It was really kind of like my go-to group.
Yeah, that's so true. There's definitely a value in both, like the women's only spaces and the group community. So
I agree.
Totally agree.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I've been looking forward. Now, what day? My schedule is all messed up because I've been back to school. When is Rolf Gates coming, and when is Tommy Rosen coming?
So Tommy is tomorrow for you guys, today for me, which is really exciting. So he is, for me, it's tonight at 11 p.m. Bali time, which is, 10 p.m. Bali time, which is 10 a.m. Eastern Standard. And then Rolf is on Thursday. So that will be amazing.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited.
So if anyone's listening to this who hasn't joined yet, Rolf and Tommy are 2 big names in the sober world. They're coming on for a live interview on Zoom. So that means everyone is welcome to join, to listen in, to ask questions. So make sure that you jump in and join.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And
okay. Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to ask, let's talk about some sober news this week.
I know, that's why I'm playing with my phone and trying to focus at the same time. I'm trying to find my sober news that I saved, but I can't figure out where I saved it. So I'll just do it off the top of my head. So what about yours?
Okay, so I'm actually really enjoying this now, making it a weekly ritual about Googling some sober news. Okay, so this was something I thought was really cool. So the University of Windsor, which is a university in Canada, has opened up a residence just for sober living. So just sober people, when they go to university, can stay in a separate residence that's only for sober people. And I thought that was really cool because residence culture is really all about drinking. And it's really nice to create that safe space for people that are sober.
That is fascinating. I would love to know more about how it's going, that's so interesting. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder if that's, I don't know if it's the first sober residence in the world or if other ones exist, but I thought that was really cool.
That is, I wonder. And especially with all I do with colleges, I do a lot of college admissions, like counseling for kids applying to colleges. And I can't say that's ever come up in my 20 years, like as a want from students. And just touring, I've toured over probably 400 colleges. And there's pet friendly, there's senior citizens living on campus. I don't ever remember even like there's a healthy living one, but I don't remember that ever being a theme.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting to me as, a professional in the field as well.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pet friendly residents. Wow, I would like that too.
I know, it's so cool. It's a big thing. It's a big thing. It's awesome.
All right, the next thing that I saw is that, you know who Shia Labeouf is?
No.
Okay, Shia Labeouf was on, do you remember the show Even Stevens?
Yes, I remember that.
Yes, Shia Labeouf was the boy in that family, like the actor.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he has 627 days sober this week, which is really cool.
Yay!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And what else? I put about 5 articles in the Mindful Life Practice newsletter. One is about the Sober Curious movement in Ireland. One is about festivals in the UK. And then another person, I actually don't even know who his name is. His name is Labeouf. He's an international composer. I just put it in the link, but he had 17 years sober this week. So I thought that was cool.
That is so, oh my gosh. I love that Ireland is like making the movement, because I remember I was like 7 or 8 months sober when I was supposed to go see my son in Scotland, and the world shut down. And I remember being scared to death. And when I say sober, I was alcohol free, but with no support. And I was scared to death about going to Scotland. And I just feel like the England, UK, all that is just doing such amazing things in the last couple of years. I'd love to go like on a tour. It would be so cool.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Oh, Carolyn is typing in the chat saying, where do we find the newsletter? The newsletter can come to your email if you're subscribed to them. Now, if you're not seeing them, I would think that Carolyn would be subscribed, since Carolyn does a lot of the activities. So if you're not seeing them, it might be in your spam or your promotions folder. So check that, or I can also make sure that you get subscribed. But yeah, the newsletter is great because we put all the upcoming events, all the upcoming workshops. I put in the sober news. I put the news of the week. Actually, in this newsletter, I mentioned that Carolyn is 600 days sober, actually. So Carolyn, you're in this newsletter.
You should be getting that newsletter.
Yeah, so it goes to your email. I can send you the link to this one, but it might be in spam or promotions, or you might need to resubscribe.
That's so funny. My sister is on she went to, I think she did sober yoga week last year. And so she gets your emails or your newsletter, and she's not part of the community, but she's always like, you didn't tell me you were doing this. You didn't tell me you were going to Mexico. You didn't. She's like, it's so funny. She was like, how come I stay on it? Because Alex tells me what's going on with your life.
That's so funny.
I'm like, there's an idea. You could come to our classes too. So, just a thought, but that's so cool. That is such like cool news. The big news. Okay, 2 things that I saw this week. Chris Marshall, who is the owner and creator of Sands Bar in Austin, Texas. He has made like waves. Like, he's been in magazines. He's been on the news for being a alcohol-free mixologist, and pretty much his name in my mind, I don't know if this is true, but in Kathy's mind, like, and I would think many people would agree with me, like, he's kind of the guru of, getting like his stamp of approval. But he has this pop-up bar, or he has this bar in Austin, Texas, but he does a lot of pop-up events. So he's been in like Seattle, New York City, like it's like and he's the big reason, Sober in the City is like, revolving around him. But he just made, they just did an article on him, or he was quoted in Vogue magazine, which I think is just like huge for the United States, and just saying like, this is the way people are thinking, and, a sober-free, alcohol-free, sober curious lifestyle. So I just think that's so just mind blowing, because I've seen Chris, like he was a leader on the Luckiest Club when I first started there. And just to see what
Wow.
he, like in he survived, he had just opened his bar when the pandemic hit. And so his alcohol free bar. And so he has survived that and pivoted and done all these things. And a lot of different alcohol free vendors like to get, him to go on shows with them and do things. And he's just such a genuine soul. So I'm really excited that he Vogue. And I tried to find it, like I was going to read something. It's hilarious. He doesn't have it on his Sandbar account or on his personal account. It's just that everybody else has it like posted about him. He's so humble. He's just so darn humble. So love him. Love him.
That's so cool. I'm going to have to check that out. I think it's pretty amazing when you see someone who has been like part of your sober journey, like part of your sober community, and then like evolving into this big, like well-known person who's in vogue. Like, I just think that's incredible.
I do. I just think, and he runs like a lot of the BIPOC meetings at TLC, and he's just amazing. He really is, for the work that he does. He's just the salt of the earth. It's so cool. The world deserves Chris, and he deserves the world, is how I feel about him. So that's so cool. And then the other thing that was like breaking news that a lot of people posted about this week, and I finally listened to his podcast, was that Andrew Huberman, he does a lot of science, like out of Stanford. And I've used him in a couple of yoga classes with like his gratitude. He did a whole study on science and gratitude, but he did one on alcohol, and it was really long. It was like almost 2 hours. But it was really interesting if you could stick with it or like put it on pause. But he still used the word alcoholism. And I don't know, like that was the only part that I was still like, oh, I'm having a hard time with this. So he, every once in a while, he'd say alcohol abuse disorder. So it was interesting, but he's got some interesting research. So that was, a lot of people really liked it. I don't know, like I thought it was interesting. So that was my other like part of the news that I finally like actually did a little research on.
I'll have to check him out because he keeps coming up in my, on my Instagram, it'll come up on someone's story or someone's post or whatever.
Well, he came up on your story because I invited him to Sober Yoga Week. I called him out and said, hey, you've had other people, like you should come on our week this week. And then I sent him a personal message. So I really think he should join Sober Yoga Week this week, just because, I called him out.
Maybe he'll join next year. It truly feels like every year we're like manifesting a new, big person. Like last year we had Andy Ramage. This year we have Rolf and Tommy. Like, it's just incredible.
Remember when you had Andy Ramage last year, and I was brand new to the community and I had no idea who this man is. And I logged on, I'm like, wow, a lot of people came to this session. This guy must be fascinating. I had no idea who he was until he started talking, and still didn't know who he really was until like the very end. It was hilarious. It was last year's like Sober Yoga Week was so inspiring. It was so cool.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Right as we were logging on, you shared that it was like something that really inspired you.
It did. I was kind of new to the community, and that was when I was still like, still logging on, but not putting my camera on when I was doing yoga. And, I feel like that week really kind of broke me into the community, like feeling welcome, hearing the topics. I put myself out there and did a topic or two, maybe even. So, it was just, it was great to see the community. What I noticed was the community rallied and really loved it. And I felt that again yesterday. It was like, yay, like it was like our festival, like it's like the opening of the opening ceremonies yesterday morning. And it was so cool to be part of that and just see how it's grown and evolved.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing how strong our community is, that it could just come together. Because something I shared in the meeting yesterday was that I actually wasn't even planning on doing this event until like literally 10 days ago. It was just something that there was so much in my life, and I was like, whatever, no one's going to notice if I don't do it. And like, people just kept asking about it. Like, people are like, we're going to do that thing again. And so I ended up pulling it together about 2 weeks ago. And like, to have this big of a turnout for something that's just been promoted recently on Facebook, like, it's just amazing.
Well, and I think it says a lot about like how we feel as a community and what the world is needing, and I think every time we turn around, more and more people are gravitating because this is a soft place to land and learn about yourself. And I mean, that's how I felt. I was 2 years sober when I joined, but I still had so much to learn, and I obviously still do. But it's just such a safe place to learn. And I feel like all the different topics really make you realize there's so much to sobriety besides putting down the drink that we can all work on. And it's an interesting way to go about it, and a safe way, is really what I always say about it too.
So true. And I love what I'm trying to remember it. You just had a soft place to land and learn about yourself. That's just beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I really feel about the MLPC and the sober yoga. It just, I just felt like my voice was heard and appreciated. And I feel like, and I'm able to hold that space for others now so easily, and want them to have that same experience. So it's really amazing to watch that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So coming up at the end of this week and next week. So at the end of this week, the next 30-day sober challenge is starting. And this is for people in initial sobriety. And what I was actually saying to Kathy right before we went live is that there's only like a couple spots left in that challenge, which is really, really exciting. So if you did want to join, we do cap these programs at 15 because we want to make sure that everyone gets to know each other and gets connected and get heard. So I'm going to put a link to this at the end of this call if you want to jump on that 30-day challenge. And also at the end of next week, the next 108-day recovery is starting, and we have quite a few people. I think we have like 5 people already signed up for that, which is really exciting.
It is. And, I've had groups of 10 or maybe 11 of women. And I just think it's such a nice number, and everybody really bonds over those 108 days of just sharing and growing together. It's so cool.
Yeah. And it's going to be awesome because this time we have a mix of, we have a few people that are coming out of the 60-day challenge. We have some people that are new to it. So, and this is going to be the first time you're running 2 groups at once, which is really cool.
No, it just keeps growing and growing, and it's so incredible. And I'm just so grateful. And the women are just like, we had a meeting on Saturday, and I did a meditation I had never done before. And we were all just like, our minds were blown by the end of it. It was like, it walked you back to like your childhood and like holding yourself there. And it just was so cathartic. Even just being the person who led it. And I love that I get to grow with it. I always say, this isn't my program, this is our program. And I feel really strongly about that because this is helping me grow every single time. So, I'm like, oh, I get to grow double with 2 groups. So it's so cool.
And speaking of it being,
what?
Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
No, mine was going to be silly. Stay on track.
I was going to say, speaking of it being our program, we also have a ton of new leaders coming in and joining us. And so we are launching the new deep dive into sober yoga, which is pretty much going to be like an all-encompassing, holistic program, helping people learn the sober curious yoga teacher training content, the yoga teacher training content, and have leadership experience in volunteering with these 30 and 60 and 108-day challenges. And that is starting also on the 11th. We have a few women signed up for that. We have some women who are already part of that program from last month. And so if you're someone who you're like, man, this sounds amazing, I really want to get involved as a leader, I want to participate, I want to help other women who are starting their sober journey, that is the third option for you.
It was so interesting. Friday night, I gave my talk at another community. And one of the things I talked about was, the serving and, like giving back. And that's where I found my voice. And it was so awesome afterwards. Like I gave my, Instagram information and my email, and just so many women saying, I want to get to the point where I can serve and do serve. And I'm like, you can be at that point at any time, choose to serve, choose to give back. I think the sooner I think you do have to have a little bit of time and, but I just think that it really helps you grow, giving a talk, doing a workshop, helping with whatever. That's where I really got more grounded and feel like I've launched to come home to me is the only way I can describe it.
Totally. All right. Well, I have to get going because
Yes.
I have Raquel in the waiting room, one of the mindful life practice teachers who I'm having a meeting with this morning. But this has been like such an awesome live. It's been so fantastic. And anyone that's interested, Kathy and I do these lives every single week. The intention is to start them at 6 p.m., 6 a.m. We're usually a few minutes late, to be totally honest with you. But we hope you come in.
I don't know.
We hope you join us, listen in live, ask us questions. And Kathy also has a workshop, Community and Sobriety, at the very end of Sober Week. So we hope you join that live as well.
Yes. All right. Enjoy Sober Yoga Week. And I loved catching up with you, Alex.
It's awesome. It's a great way to start my Tuesday. See you soon.
Bye. See you later.
Hi, friend. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Sober Yoga Girl podcast. This community wouldn't exist without you here, so thank you. It would be massively helpful if you could subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast so it can reach more people. If we haven't met yet in real life, please come get your 1-week free trial of the Sober Girls Yoga membership and see what we're all about. Sending you love and light wherever you are in the world.